Audition is a 1999 film directed by Takashi Miike. Shigeru Aoyama is a widower. Years after the tragic death of his wife, he is encouraged by his son to start looking for a new wife. Aoyama's friend in the movie industry, Yasuhisa Yoshikawa, suggests that they use their upcoming casting call to interview women to be the new wife. Aoyama and his friend ask the women questions about themselves, believing that they are only there to be cast in a movie, but the questions are covertly meant to see whether or not they would be a good match for Aoyama. After a long search, Aoyama chooses Asami Yamazaki, a woman who looks about 20 years younger than himself. Asami's references from the audition turn out to be fraudulent, but Aoyama pursues her anyway. She pleads with Aoyama to pledge his love only to her. When she disappears, Aoyama tries to find her, but only uncovers terrifying clues about her past. Asami injects Aoyama with a paralyzing drug and tortures him. She cannot accept that he has strong feelings for anyone else, even his own son. Aoyama dreams of a better outcome for his relationship, and when he awakens, his son comes to his rescue, pushing Asami down the stairs and breaking her neck. In Audition, we follow the lonely Aoyama search for a new wife, but under questionable methods. We see he is a loving father and otherwise affable. He believes that his desire outweighs any objectification of Asami. He believes that what he is doing is overall good, and does not recognize that his pattern of behavior falls into a worldview that does not treat women with agency, the ability to act. When Yoshikawa and Aoyama discuss what men look for in a woman, the Japanese word for obedient comes up multiple times, also the term well-trained, depending on the translation. Female sexual objectification by a male involves a woman being viewed primarily as an object of desire rather than as a complete person. To objectify someone is to strip them of their essential character, experience, and needs. Aoyama probably does not consciously think of this. All he knows is that he wants a wife and does not consider the fact that deceiving a young woman into a room with him and lying to her about why she is being questioned reduces her agency. Even if she willingly chooses to date him thereafter, the circumstances in which they were paired together would always be suspect. Aoyama, much older than Asami, treats her paternalistically, diminishing her role in the relationship for what he doubtless believes is her own good. Taking away the agency of someone does something to the objectifier by making it difficult for him to relate to the other. Aoyama falls for Asami for more than simply her looks, of course. He enjoys reading her essay, for example, but the childlike behavior in which she writes and speaks, all a facade as he learns later, is enough to make Aoyama's intentions troublesome whether he realizes it or not. He and his friend discuss traits that a woman should have. One such trait, they say, is youth. This is not an invention of the film, though. Heterosexual male obsession with female youth is provable. Popular online dating website OkCupid mined a lot of data over the years and found something a little uncomfortable about the difference between how women see the age of men they find most attractive and willing to date versus how men see the perfect age of women they find most attractive and willing to date. This is a chart of a woman's age and the men they find most attractive. The ages of women on the left roughly correspond with the age of men they find attractive, whereas men almost always respond that a 20-year-old woman or a woman in her early 20s is what they find most attractive and want to date, even at age 50. None of this is surprising, especially to women who are hit on by much older men, but it's good to have the raw data. In one scene, Yoshikawa comments on some women at the bar who he describes as awful girls, common and stuck up and stupid. This shows male anxieties and reaction over contemporary Japanese women using traditionally male spaces, such as a bar. What makes them stuck up or full of themselves, depending on the translation? This is something men say of women who want nothing to do with them. They cannot imagine the problem might be within themselves, so if women reject men, the problem, they rationalize, must be that of the woman. They are just stuck up. This is certainly not relegated to the Japanese culture, though. Yoshikawa remarks, "Japan is finished, a hyperbolic reaction to women having fun on their own." Stefan Hanke, an expert on Japanese horror, once wrote, "If we see Asami as a figure in the Japanese tradition of the female avenger, her capacity for violence and destruction is directed against Aoyama as a proponent of a reactionary ideology of the family. If viewers experience a sense of ambivalence about this attack, it may be because we see this family as often already dysfunctional, and male authority as often already undermined. Aoyama's desire to find a submissive wife can prove disastrous." Aoyama is not the only one, though. Asami's other kidnapping victim, presumably her ex-boyfriend, may have it worse. Asami feeds the man her own vomit, displaying an extreme version of gender role reversal in which the male is subjected to become the silent, obedient, and domesticated pet, while quite literally relies on her for means of subsistence. Aoyama and his friend also discuss what skills a woman should have. Rather than, say, occupational skills, Aoyama concludes that he wants a wife who has a performative talent, like the ability to sing and dance for him. Asami's worth to Aoyama lies in what she can do for him and how she can help his life. He is ready to marry her only days after meeting her, while knowing nothing about her past except what was in her phony resume and a few lies during their sparse dates. She is useful to him. He does not know her. Trying to classify Aoyama's feelings as purely romantic and genuine fails when taking these things into account. People and actions are not so superficially simple, as the revelation about Asami should clearly show. Some people who have seen Audition say that it is divided into two parts, a romance movie and a horror movie. Respectfully, that line of thinking displays a complete misunderstanding of what is actually happening in the first hour of the film. Aoyama has tricked a woman into a relationship, and conversely, a woman has tricked the man right back. Her lies of omission are foreshadowed multiple times before the more horrific content begins, and his actions are explicitly dishonest and suspicious right away. When everything goes sideways in the film, it is not sudden at all. It has been carefully built up over the first hour. If audiences mistakenly see Aoyama's pretense as romantic, it shows just how pervasive these negative social attitudes are. And if audiences mistake Asami's suspicious behavior for innocence, that says a lot about the infantilization of women by men as well. This horror movie is a horror movie in the first act, not just in the end. Asami does not even torture him because of his lies and unsettling private conversations with his friend. She does it because of her own personal damage that has left her broken. But that damage is also the result of being treated as an object without agency, albeit something far, far more egregious: physical abuse. In this case, abuse that has a sexual component. That does not justify her later behavior, but it does explain the links in the chain of abuse. Audition reveals the oppressive nature of certain traditionalistic romantic notions which perpetuate dominant gender roles. Aoyama falls into a pattern that he does not even realize is part of negative systemic behavior. Does that mean his torture at the hands of Asami is justified? No, of course not. His insensitivity is not an act worthy of kidnapping and mutilation as retribution. That is not what the movie is conveying, though. We do not have to wonder if Aoyama's participation in a harmful system that existed long before him and will after him deserves to be tortured. We can, however, wonder about that harmful system itself, and hopefully come to some conclusions. Sociologist Alan G. Johnson once wrote, "If we think about problems like violence in a way that appreciates both the power of systems and the importance of our role in them, the choice we face becomes clearer. The choice isn't about whether or not to be involved in privilege and oppression. It isn't about accepting blame for a system we didn't create. Nor is it about whether to make ourselves better people so that we can consider ourselves above and beyond sexism as a social problem. The choice is how to participate in this system differently so that we can help to change not only ourselves, but the world that shapes our lives and is, in turn, shaped by them. Ultimately, the choice is about empowering ourselves to take our share of responsibility for the patriarchal legacy that we've all inherited. Hi everyone, if you like what I do, please click on the orange Patreon link below. That's how this show happens. It's also the only way to request an episode. Also, there are other benefits to pledging, so check it out. The information is on my Patreon page. I'll see you next week.